Hello, my name is Philip Kedge. I'm a retired police chief inspector and I've been a McKenzie friend since 2012, and all my views and opinions expressed in this blog are entirely my own. Now, last week I did something which is completely unscientific but actually quite interesting. I have people phone me up every day for 1 hour free consultations. So what I did is I took the last 10 fathers who phoned me up and the last 10 mothers who phoned me up about child arrangement cases. Then I documented how many times each of those groups used either of the phrases controlling or manipulative, or used the terms sociopath or narcissist. And I think you might be interested in the results. So let's look at those first two words, controlling or manipulative. During the conversation with me, for the men, for the fathers, 3 out of 10 dads use the words controlling or manipulative to describe their ex-partner. When it came to the mothers, 10 out of 10 of the mums described their ex-partners as either controlling or manipulative. Now, let me just put that in a context for a second. It seemed to me that when the dads were referring to their partners as controlling and manipulative on the 3 occasions, it seems that that was in relation to child arrangements, i.e. the mum had somehow restricted access to their children or child, and therefore the mum was being manipulative or controlling. However, when the mums referred to their ex-partners, to the fathers, as being controlling or manipulative, it seemed to be that they were describing that in relation to the relationship, which had been ongoing for years, that during the relationship my ex was controlling or manipulative. So let's look at the words sociopath or narcissist. No dad mentioned the word sociopath or narcissist in terms of referring to their ex-partner. However, when it comes to the mums, 7 of them actually use the expression sociopath or narcissistic. And some of them use both expressions. So what's going on here? It seems to me that there's some sort of endemic culture, particularly around women and mums, when they enter into the family court system or are considering entering into the family court system, that they have a loving relationship at one point with their ex-husbands or partners, that they have children, but then of course sadly, as in 1 or 3 relationships, that goes wrong and they separate. But then all of a sudden, when it comes to child arrangements, they then refer and demonise their ex-partner as being narcissistic or sociopathic, controlling or manipulative. So when they come up with these words, what I tend to do is actually ask them what they mean. I say, well, explain what you mean by them being narcissistic or sociopathic. And when you challenge people, they actually then find it extremely hard to explain to you. Then I actually ask people, I say to them on the phone, so if you're saying that your ex-partner was sociopathic or narcissistic, what exactly do you want the courts to do about that? And again, they struggle to come up with any form of coherent answer. And usually they just say, well, the judge needs to know. Well, needs to know what? What's the relevance? So I sort of say, well, give me some examples. And they say, well, I've got to keep they don't say our child, they say, I've got to keep my child safe. Well, what do you mean you've got to keep your child safe? So give me an example of where the father, your ex, represents either a significant risk of harm to your child or children, or that their parenting falls below the standard of being good enough. Give me some examples. And again, people even struggle to give examples. Things I get are, well, he sits little Johnny down in front of the TV for hours. He doesn't do little Johnny's homework. He feeds little Johnny with pizza, or doesn't wash his hair and he's unkempt and untidy. But none of these reach anywhere near a threshold of a parent being a significant risk of harm, and nowhere near reaches a standard of a parenting not being good enough. So what I then tend to do is to have a really honest conversation with people. And I kind of explain to them the consequences of entering into the family court system, banding and throwing around these phrases, and demonising the other parent. Because what happens is this: by using those phrases, it causes acrimony and resentment and even hatred between the two parties, which often lasts for years longer than, say, the 6 or 9 months of actually the court hearing. It causes a festering of bad feeling, which actually blocks the ability to positively co-parent in the best interest of your children. And as this bad feeling festers for years, the only people who get damaged from that are actually your children. They become emotionally harmed and emotionally abused because of the resentment, hatred and acrimony that is caused through the banding around and the demonising of each other or the other partner. And I think it's time for both sides, for men and women, for mums and dads, to start challenging this negative, destructive behaviour where people enter the court system with the name of demonising each other. I ask you not to do it. If you want to talk about this further, and if you need help or support, then I'll be happy to have that 1 hour conversation with you and talk through the issues and hopefully put you on a different path than the one that you're currently on, if you are demonising the other side, or indeed if you feel that you are being demonised. Then please give me a call.